So in this video, I want to do a real quick run through of the department syllabus for this class. I'm not going to go through all of it in detail because you can certainly read it on your own. Instead, I just kind of want to go through some of the highlights with you. And the first thing is because this is an online class, some of the things written in this department syllabus are very general and it applies to kind of the face-to-face classes. So I'll kind of point that out in different areas for us. First thing is the required materials. So all you will need is the textbook and a scientific calculator. So the textbook is the 13th edition, as well as a scientific calculator. You don't need a lab manual or any lab code or any lab goggles. Those are for face-to-face students only. So for us, it is a current edition of textbook and a scientific calculator. It doesn't have to be a graphing calculator. It can if you have one, but generally a basic scientific calculator is all you're going to need. Course learning outcomes, I'm not going to read through this. You can read through those. That's some of the things we're going to be working on. Here's the grading standard. This is the department-wide grading standard. So all chemistry classes have to abide by this grading standard. This shows you the percentages and the corresponding letter grades. Standard rounding rules apply. 0.5 would get rounded up. 0.4, 0.3, 0.3, 0.2, 0.1 do not get rounded up. So regular rounding rules. The thing about lab is that doesn't really apply to us because we're online. So our course content, these are some of the things we're going to be talking about this semester. The department policies, the first one doesn't apply to us. You wouldn't go to another lab section because it's an online course. You do have to independently pass both the lecture and the laboratory portion of the course. College policies, these give you links to the different Brookdale policies. I'm not going to click and open those up. You can kind of read through those, but academic integrity code, student conduct code, grade and grade appeal process. Notification for students with disabilities. So for this, if you think in any way, shape, or form that this applies to you, please send me a message so we can kind of talk about what that is going to mean. Additional support labs. In addition to my office hours, the chemistry department offers tutoring for the spring and the fall semesters. So that's a chance to get a little bit of extra help. Generally, about the second week of the semester, that schedule is finalized. Whenever that's finalized, I post that in Canvas so you can see where to get a little bit of additional support and extra help as well. What the rest of the syllabus is it looks like what you would expect for a syllabus. It breaks down the content, what chapters are in what units, what types of things are you kind of studying and looking at. And the first thing you want to notice about the syllabus is how it relates back to the textbook. Your textbook for this course is kind of the most widely used textbook for this type of course across the country. But your textbook can function in two different ways. We're in a one semester survey course, and it functions for that. But your textbook can also be used for a 2-semester sequence class. That's not what we are. We're a 1-semester survey class. So what that means is we don't do everything that's in the textbook. There's going to be sections we skip, pieces of content that we don't talk about. So what you want to make sure you're doing is not just blindly reading the book. Instead, what you want to make sure you are doing is you're following along with this department syllabus. So you're not dealing with content and topics and things that just aren't for us. So you want to go through and look through this. I'll give you some examples. Like in this first one, it says omit 2.2 and 2.3. Those are sections right off the bat that we're not dealing with. If I keep scrolling down, okay, we're going to omit that section. Omit 4.7. Omit 5.6. You know, omit 6.8. You know, and we go down. Sometimes it's just a single section. Sometimes it's a whole bunch of sections. Like here, chapter 7. We're only going to do the first 4 sections of that. We only do a little less than half the chapter. You know, chapter 8. This one's an important one. We're going to omit 8.5 in its entirety. We're also omitting almost all of the calculations that are found in this chapter, except for one. So as you're going through and you're looking at this, you want to make sure you're not stressing about and taking time on items that we're not ever going to do. Another good example is here in chapter 10, where we're omitting all the calculations. We're also omitting 2 sections of that chapter. Again, chapter 10, we only do about a third of that chapter. So you want to make sure you are kind of looking through that as you're reading along in the syllabus, such that you're only paying attention to those things in the textbook that are truly important, that you're omitting those things that you're needing to omit. Additionally, what you see in here is kind of your learning objectives. What are you trying to learn in that specific section? It tells you the textbook sections and chapters that go along with that you should be reading before you watch the videos that I have prepared on those topics. And then it also tells you the recommended textbook problems to try later to make sure you're comfortable and able to do those things. So that's included for all the different units, all the different chapters. It's how are things broken down? What are you trying to learn? And then what sections of the textbook correspond to that? And then what sample problems should you be attempting some of to make sure you're feeling comfortable with that specific topic.